3.
Frank W. Abagnale was born in 1948, at a time when the first signs of the post-war economic boom were beginning to show in the USA. Abagnale was entirely suited to the period, and from an early age had worked out how to buy things with his father's credit card, which he would then sell for cash. However, his life of crime didn't properly begin until his parents got divorced, and he was asked to choose between a life with his mother or father. It was a choice that young Frank couldn't and wouldn't make. Instead, he ran away from home to New York City. Life wasn't easy for a 16-year-old boy in New York, and finding a job was even harder. But Frank was able to rely on his natural good looks, height, and graying hair, which made him look much older than he was. So no one questioned him after he changed his date of birth on his driving license from 1948 to 1938 and appeared to the world 10 years older. After visiting a bank to open an account, he began to think carefully about banking procedures and security. He experimented with paperwork and was soon able to work out a way to get other customers to deposit their money into Frank's account without anyone knowing what was happening. By the time the bank discovered his crime, Frank was $40,000 richer and had already changed his identity. Abagnale realized that the more money he had, the more money he was able to make for himself, and the grander his tricks became. Probably the grandest trick of all was when he impersonated a Pan Am pilot and traveled across the USA for 2 years. The young man had no idea how to fly, but after stealing a pilot's uniform, he simply introduced himself to the airport staff as a pilot, saying he needed a ride. He was a huge success, and during that time the bills for everything, his uniforms, food, and lodging, were all paid for by Pan Am. His most complicated stunt was when he faked a Harvard law diploma and passed exams to become a lawyer. Later on, he became a pediatrician at a hospital, and finally, in surely his most risky escapade, he pretended to be an FBI agent, and all this without a high school diploma. Before long, police all over the world were looking for him, and 5 years after his life of crime and adventure had begun, at the age of 21, Frank was arrested after being recognized by a flight attendant. But fortunately for Frank, his luck didn't run out in prison. The FBI had been so impressed by his abilities that they offered him a job helping the police to catch people just like him. Happy to get out of prison, Abagnale accepted the offer and is now an honest family man. But that isn't the end of his story, as in 2002, Steven Spielberg made a film of his life story, Catch Me If You Can, starring Leonardo DiCaprio.